Good morning, everyone. Kris here with Inspired Energy and joining me, Hartwell. Good morning, Hartwell.
Good morning, Kris. Good morning, everyone.
So, today you've chosen to revisit the Incarnation Cross, which I know I always felt was like a major thing in human design as to unlocking, that key of who we are. So, can you maybe just refresh us and tell us what the Incarnation Cross consists of and what it is?
Yeah, the Incarnation Cross, it is made up of the Sun and Earth's position on both sides of the body graph. So the personality side, Sun and Earth, and the design side, Sun and Earth. And you've got to realize it does actually form a cross because you have the Sun on one side and the Earth is directly opposite. I can't see. What am I doing here with my hands? You've got, you've
Yeah.
got an opposition, and then and because of the design calculation, maybe some of you, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but the chart for the design side of your chart is exactly 88 degrees before you were born. So it represents the end, it's about the end of the second trimester of your mother's pregnancy. And so it's another pairing of Sun and Earth, which are, of course, opposite. So it makes a cross when you look at it. And it's, as I say, it's an asymmetrical cross. It's not quite perfectly symmetrical because it's 88 degrees. And these four positions represent 70% of the programming, you could say, of your life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, the sun is the most important planet, and of course, we live on the earth. So it makes sense that these two would be central to our experience.
So one of the things that I noticed about, any of the descriptions with the Incarnation Cross is it always specifies right angle cross of tension or left angle cross of tension or whatever that is. So what is the right and left angle mean?
Well, without getting too technical, because I'm not sure I could explain it properly, and because we don't need to know that, but it arises from that slight asymmetry, Kris, the 88
Mm-hmm.
degrees. And so the right angle makes up about 2/3 of the incarnation crosses, and the left angle makes up about a third.
Mm-hmm.
So right angle crosses are more numerous, or they're more statistically they're more.
Mm-hmm.
And from a human design perspective, there's the idea that the left angle are somehow more transpersonal, more concerned with transpersonal, meaning that a person who has that cross is more concerned with the broader implications of society and where we're headed, has more of a big picture, overarching view of things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm a I'm somebody who studies a lot of different systems, and in every system there are things like, really, I don't know about that. To me, this feels like a really, I don't know about that in terms of the comments about left versus right angle, but that is
Mm-hmm.
kind of what is communicated.
Mm-hmm. So when you say know your incarnation cross, know yourself, can you tell us what you mean by that?
Well, one of the things that I'm coming to understand, in my own ongoing spiritual studies, is that when we talk about our interaction with the world, we can so easily get thrown off course by the effects of people and institutions and energies around us. And it makes it hard for us sometimes to understand what is me and what is not me. And So, I mean, you will recognize this, Kris,
Mm-hmm.
because of our work. But it's the first and one of the most important steps to kind of sorting out and becoming more resilient to the influences around you is to know yourself, so that you're
Mm-hmm.
grounded in the reality of your own energy. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
meaning by that.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing your incarnation cross from a human design perspective and a gene keys perspective is a good first step, or a good, one of the beginning steps in knowing yourself, because it
Mm-hmm.
helps you, okay, this is who I am, so that's what I mean by that. And once we knowing ourselves is so crucial, because it helps us be more resilient toward outside influences and more self-contained and therefore more self-assured.
Mm-hmm. So when you're talking about the earth and the sun and the gene keys language, what positions do you refer to? And maybe if you can tell people which, like, because we're not all familiar with the symbols, where they would find them on the chart.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the symbols, there's two columns of symbols on either side of the body graph. The right side column refers to your personality. That is your mind, your consciousness. And there are 13 symbols there. The top two symbols are the ones we're talking about today. The top
Yes.
one is obvious. It's the sun. It looks like a
Mm-hmm.
circle with a dot in it.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is the earth, and it looks like a circle with a cross inside it. Um, and the cross has always been a symbol of materiality in a way. So that's the earth. Those are
Mm-hmm.
the top two on both sides. Um, And I like the way the Gene Keys, puts it. It's in a sense, our sun is the radiance. It's the vitalizing energy of our life.
Mm-hmm.
And in Gene Keys language, we call the personality sun the life's work. That has something to do with what you're here for. What are you here to do?
Mm-hmm.
The personality earth right underneath it is an energy or an attunement that's all about the evolution that you're going through in this lifetime. So, what are you here to learn?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, if you just look at the keywords for your sun in your gate
Mm-hmm.
and the gene key, you start to, okay, yeah, you can play with that. There's something to chew on, something worth contemplating.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the design sun on the left side of your chart, which of course represents your body, your inheritance, your biological programming, the hardware of your body, that represents your radiance. So the idea of, what keeps us healthy. And when we would be looking at that, we would be looking at not just the gate,
Mm-hmm.
not just the gene key, we'd also be looking at the line, because the line gives us hints as to, and I mean, that's what sort of takes us down the rabbit hole into our PHS, our primary health system, and understanding our diet, understanding our cognition.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fourth one, the design earth, is all about purpose. What deeply fulfills you? Is the question that would be answered by this gene key, this gate, and its line.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, what I like about human design is that we're not starting from scratch. If you have access to this, if for some reason it's entered into your life as a tool that you have access to, then you have a shortcut to a lot of self-understanding. It, of course, has to be translated into your experience still, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to kind of say, okay, is that true? Is that true about me? Do I have a relationship with creativity and self expression? Because my gate my personality sun is in gate 1, which
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about myself here. And it's like, well, yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do. Um, does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. So when we talk about the incarnation cross, like is it like your destiny? Is it like going to be fulfilled no matter what in this lifetime, or is it like really up to us and the decisions that we make?
Well, that's a good question, Kris.
Hmm.
It's a really good question. Um, Ra, the founder of human design, would say, no, it's not something we are entitled to, nor is it inevitable.
Hmm.
Um, he would say that if we can decondition our and live our differentiated self, then our cross quite literally takes over our life. We don't awaken to our cross, we awaken in it.
Hmm.
So, I mean, these are fancy, what's the subtlety there? The idea is that when we become fully aligned with God's will for us, which is the design that we were been born with,
Hmm.
then in a sense, we awaken within that understanding and find that we are just naturally, um, it's living, that purpose is living itself out through us.
Hmm.
But he would say, no, it's not inevitable.
Yeah,
Um,
it kind of reminds me of the whole um, being born again. Like to awaken to your cross is to be born again and realize that you have this connection to God and you are one with all, right? And when you awaken that piece of yourself, then you complete that design that God has created for the whole world. Because if you don't
mhm.
become what you're meant to become, then that's a missing piece that the whole world needs, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I like how you put that.
Hmm.
Um, I like how you put that. That there's a difference between an awakened and an unawakened human.
Hmm.
Um, our mentor likes to tell us that there are, even if we don't step up to the plate. Here we
Hmm.
are using all these different metaphors, which I love to do, of course.
Hmm.
Um, Even if we don't step up to the plate and become a willing, active, and aware participant in this drama of life, and there's somehow still ingredients that are important to God's plan that we bring to the world,
Hmm.
but not in quite the same way. I mean, what would be the difference between those two things? I wouldn't know, but
Hmm.
um, that's kind of my thought on it. I
Well, it's like
mean,
plan A and plan B. Well, this one didn't work out, so we'll try this one, right? Yeah.
yeah,
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 you can fill
and
a niche over here if you don't fit over here. Yeah.
yes, yes, it's kind of like, um, I in one of the systems I've studied, they talk about there being a universal law, which is the law of economy. Um,
Hmm.
and the law of economy is kind of like, whatever we're dealt, we will make something out of. It's kind of
Hmm.
like, there is no waste. There is nothing by accident. It's kind of like, okay, if this person doesn't awaken to the full fulfillment of their destiny, they'll still, you know waste not, want not. God
Hmm.
will make use of them somehow.
Yeah.
That there's a contribution anyway,
Hmm.
even if we're
Yeah.
just compost.
Yeah.
Is
Or
kind of
cannon fodder is
yes, yes. um but it's one of the things Ross said was that it takes a lifetime of patient and disciplined attention to making decisions that are correct for us, combined with a dedication to fine-tuning our awareness in order to fully fulfill ourselves. Our cross, he says, embodies the full expression of our awareness potential and our process of living awake. So, to me, when we have a discussion like this, I feel motivated to make the effort to be aware. Because then my contribution will be so much more significant or meaningful or impactful or something.
It's interesting when you say that, because then I just got triggered into something. So, like, everybody seems to want to have an impact of some sort, right?
Right.
But it's interesting because what I'm observing and knowing is that people are having impact on others, but they want the validation, they want to see it, but it's happening anyways, whether you see it or you don't see it. So it's just to, when you are truly awakened into yourself and you embody that, you just know that you are making a difference and you are making impact, even though it may not be reflected back to you. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, it makes beautiful, beautiful sense, Kris. I really love that you said that. In some ways, it's not, it undercuts this whole entitlement thing or, wanting to be a star or wanting to be special, which I think are impediments to our growth often. And you know how they say, what somebody else thinks about me and says about me is not my business. Well, maybe it's none of my business what impact I have either.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I really,
yeah, it's just to live and be you. But it's so hard for us as human beings to accept that's all we have to do. And so, we're off looking at, oh, well, I like that person's life and I like what they're doing. And, this whole comparison thing comes out, that, yeah, in humans, right? So
yes.
just, yeah, if there's anything human design is teaching us, is just be ourselves.
Yes. And, really contemplate those aspects of your incarnation cross. And especially, Richard Rudd's language and the language of the gene keys is so good at getting us pumped up to see the extraordinary nature of our own potential. Because
And
I mean, each one of those 64 essays is so inspiring.
so here's a
Um,
thought. Do you think that human design could possibly tell us our order of priorities?
I've been
Oh,
playing with that. I've been
listen to the
playing with
bird.
that. Pardon
The
me?
bird just chirped when we said that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the squirrel
Oh, the
just made
squirrel.
a noise right when you said that. I've been
Yeah.
playing with that.
Hmm.
Yeah. I haven't got any clear sort of pointer around that yet, but
Hmm.
I think there might be things that you could access through human design that that
Would help
maybe.
you. Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Because that would be an interesting exploration. So, as
Yes,
well as, like, I'm wondering, see, now I'm off topic, but it's
I love it.
inspiring to see that the work that we do with our mentor, how that can tie into human design. So, the order of priorities, can it help you with your centers of awareness? Can it help you? You know what I mean? Because if that's our design, there must be clues in the design of that hones in on these things for us.
Yes, I
Yeah,
would think so.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm hot on that. I'm hot on that thread.
awesome.
Just so because that's on my mind. You're
Great
really
minds think
starting.
alike.
You're really starting to figure out how my mind works, Kris, because my mind is always cross
Hmm.
correlating different systems.
Hmm.
Um, And that's why I'm excited. Um, I realize that it's hard for me to offer just one thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to talk about just human design
Mm-hmm.
because I need to weave it with the other things that I know and cross reference them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know I've been teasing this for quite a while. Kris and I have been, but we've been
Mm-hmm.
talking about starting a group here at Clair-i-tea that will be come in person kind of group, at least at this point, where we sit down and we chat about elements of human design as we've observed them in ourselves and observed them in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And we allow that conversation to unfold where it needs to go. And
Mm-hmm.
so um, we're now on the brink of being ready for doing that. And so stay tuned.
Mm-hmm.
Stay tuned in there'll be an announcement of our or actually beginning that now.
Yeah, exactly. So, is there any last things that you want to say before we wrap up?
Uh, no, that's it.
That's it. Okay. Well, so
or as or as oh yeah, or as Ra used to said over and over again in the early years of human design, you have no choice because you're designed a certain way. So love yourself
yeah.
and get busy following your strategy and authority.
And if you need help doing that, Hartwell is happy to consult with you and do that. So, as we all work through our um, human design and the way that we're designed to be, we run into different things that we don't quite understand or we need to go deeper with. And Hartwell can help you do that. So, if you need that assistance, we're always here at Clair-i-tea to help you do that. So, with that, we'll say goodbye, God bless, and have a wonderful day.